And welcome back to the Dean Obeidallah Show. We're live here Wednesday, April 23rd, and it's time for another Bull Busters as we bring the facts in the fire to cut through the lies of the GOP. Joining us again, Nida Khan is back, journalist, producer. She's written for HuffPost, Essence, CNN, and so much more. Nice to see you, Nida.
Hello, Dean. Good to see you too. I'm gonna throw this in. I'm getting ready to celebrate my birthday weekend, so I'm
Oh,
excited.
that's great. Well, happy birthday weekend in advance. This is all
Thank you.
part of your birthday week because I
Yes,
know
exactly.
that
It's a whole month-long celebration. So
that's funny. I haven't celebrated my birthday. I've not celebrated my birthday in 7 years, so I'm still locked in that age. Also, Alex Pearlman came back. I know no one could believe it. Why would he come back? But thank you for coming back. He's the red-haired guy who yells about the news, a comedian, content creator. He is his viral 3-minute rants on social media is Pearlmania 500, and on his podcast, Too Many Tabs. He's got a brand new studio and a lot of other things going on, which we'll get to in a second. Nice to see you, Alex.
Hey, thanks for having me here. It's great to be back. I was shocked when you guys sent me the email. We're like, "Hey, do you want to come back on the show?" I was like, "I guess I didn't insult the right people." So we'll
No, that's right.
fix it this time.
Alex is back. All right. So again, we're going to go through these topics and I'll sum up a little bit and then you guys bring whatever you want to bring, the facts or the fire to go through the bullshit of the right. So Trump, by the way, Trump's a liar. Because the corporate media
I'm
doesn't
shocked
know
by
that.
that.
Yeah, but
I'm shocked.
Alex, the corporate media
Bringing-
doesn't know it. They report this guy saying stuff like he's not convicted of 34 felonies, didn't attempt a coup, didn't incite an attack, who lies all the time. They literally say, "Oh, and today Donald Trump suggested this." Like he's a liar. What? I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Okay, so here's the lie on tariffs. He's saying now we were losing 2 billion a day in tariff money somehow. He made that up, and now we're making 3 billion a day, which is all a lie. It's completely bullshit. As Washington Post fact checkers have noted, for Pinocchios, the tariffs are not bringing 3 billion. He's off by a factor of 10. Biden is not losing 2 billion a day. He has no understanding. He literally makes shit up, and the media reports it, and then they do the whisperer, like, well, what he meant to say. He's a liar. Anitha, okay, your turn. Facts, fire, both, whatever you want.
I mean, where do I even start? It's the same thing we've seen for what, like 10 years now, right? He lies, they repeat it, alternative facts, and then next thing you know, it's a big, huge news story, like you said. And then when the actual truth comes out after the fact or down the line, that gets a sliver of the coverage. And that's the problem, and this is all interconnected with the dumbing down of society. And here we are, and this is why we have this guy in office. And correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't he
Sure.
backtrack on China today, like off of the steep tariffs, saying that he's gonna reverse or pause some of them or something to that effect. Don't quote me on the exact verbiage, but he's backtracking now on that too because the CEOs of Target, Walmart, and a whole bunch of companies met with him and said, our shelves are going to be empty probably by the summertime because of these tariffs. And he was like, "Oh, I don't like that." So now he's probably backtracking off of the China stuff too. It's just so ridiculous and pathetic. And meanwhile, all of us are just caught in limbo in the middle of this while the antics play out day in and day out. And by the way, for the record, I'm coming with my fact. There was more than 260 million per day in custom duties paid to the federal government under Biden in 2024, which is pretty much the same as what it is now, because once he put these tariffs in, it's something like 258 million per day. So
He's a lie. By the way, to the quick thing about the tariffs, yes, yesterday the Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said, "Well, Trump might be considering slashing the tariffs," and then today Trump is like, "Well, he's not unilaterally going to get rid of them." So no, nothing makes sense. Like nothing, chaos reigns, and MAGA might like it, but investors around the world don't like it. So, Alex, what's your take on this, my friend?
Oh, well, my take on it is yeah, there's some things that were said today about the tariffs, specifically with China, that are all over the place.
Yep.
Because for a lot of people have never been in an abusive relationship with a narcissist before, and that's exactly what not only America but now the world economic markets are dealing with for the first time. They're used to being the ones to lie to our faces, but now they got an even bigger guy who's lying back to them. And then right now, so this morning there was some rumblings that the tariffs were going to get cut in half. Then there were some rumblings that no, that's actually not what's going to happen. And then somebody forgets to write it on a card, and then Trump goes out in front of cameras and then says the exact opposite. And so all week for the last month, since Liberation Day, the only thing anyone's been liberated from is any sense of peace and security and the feeling that they know what's going to happen next quarter. Like when looking around at everything, the biggest thing that has happened with the tariffs is that the United States is no longer the destination for people to park money to feel safe. And we're seeing that happen. I'm seeing more and more content creators like myself like begin to explain more about what is going on with treasury bonds, what's going on when people hold cash, why is gold up? I mean, like, gold, since 2006, gold has been what people like Alex Jones and InfoWars and random grifters have been trying to sell you in the corner. And now it's the smartest commodity to go buy into. Like, the feeling that everybody has right now is we don't know what the Mad King is going to do. And then one of his advisors will come out and say, actually, what he just said, it's opposite day to day, because you see his tie was 2 inches longer today than it was on Tuesday, which means actually what he really meant to say was, and then the markets react to what the advisor says. And then Trump walks out and says, that guy's a liar, and we just fired him. And this has been happening over and over again. And the part that's really driving me the most crazy is that this is exactly what happened during his first term. Am I the only fucking person who remembers this? He did this exact same shit the first time. And seeing all these rich assholes in Wall Street pretend like they didn't expect this to happen is what's driving me fucking crazy. That's the part that's breaking my brain.
Right.
We've done this before.
And this actually feels worse in a way, because there's a lot of things going on. But Alex, to your point, I had Ali Velshi on. Nathan knows him, our brown friend, and he's our brown brother. And he's big on, he does a lot with money stuff. He used to be a CNN show about It's Your Money and all that. And he talked about yesterday the details of how the treasury is going down, the US dollar, people not investing in the stock market, despite the fact it went up the last 2 days, it's still down like almost 18%. That the US is no longer the safe haven, and that people don't understand how risky that is and how bad that is for our nation and for our debt and for so much about, except for the dollar going down in value. Now things are more expensive to buy. But I mean, he's talking about how lose that safe haven ability there when countries don't trust the United States of America. We've not had that before, and it's very dangerous for us, all of us. It's going to affect all of us.
But also us as the number one trading partner with the rest of the world. Like, one thing that's happened with this that we don't talk about with the trade war is everyone's like, well, America's the number one economy. America's the number one economy. Yeah, compared to a bunch of combinations of countries, but not every country on earth. When they were screaming about where's China going to sell their stuff, Africa. It's the reason why they're doing the Belt and Road Initiative. They've been building up the ports so they can sell to more markets over there. They'll sell to South America. They'll sell eventually to India. They'll sell to other areas. We're seeing Europe begin to partner a little bit more with China and all these different other places. Like, it just makes us look shittier, and it just takes us off the leaderboard completely. So nobody's going to listen to us.
It's just stupid. It's fundamentally stupid, and I didn't realize you mentioned Liberation Day. I didn't realize, or I should say most Americans probably didn't realize that Liberation Day meant the same way that I guess Bush liberated Iraqis, right? From Saddam Hussein, ended up decimating the country. That's pretty much what this guy is doing now. And I will say, I know there was a lot of talk about blueberries, and there were jokes before he got into office that it's going to be difficult to find blueberries. Well, I will say it is actually getting difficult. The last couple of weeks, I've been having problems finding blueberries.
Me too.
I have problems.
Oh my God.
When Biden was in office.
I have a toddler, and he's in that berry life right now. And a small thing of blueberries was $7.50.
Yeah.
Grapes. Grapes are,
whenever I go into a store, like the shelves are empty with blueberries. I'm like,
I live in Manhattan. Grapes are now a currency. Like it's like $9. I'm not kidding. It's $9 for grapes. People can't see on the radio, but everyone else here is on Zoom can see it. It's teeny. I'm like $9, and that's Trader Joe's. That Whole Foods you got to buy on layaway. Like at least Trader Joe's you can buy it at one time.
And that's not even getting into tomatoes, which are going to go up. So if you're having plans on building a vegetable garden anywhere in your house, grow tomatoes. Most people don't realize this, but we just ended the American-Mexican tomato agreement, where we didn't have taxes or tariffs or something on tomatoes, particularly, many of which are grown in Mexico. So enjoy your lasagna going up.
That's it, folks. I'm talking about Alex Pearlman and Nida Khan. I like Alex because when he yells, it makes me yell again. Like, I like to yell, but everyone else is calm. And my guests look at me like, why are you yelling?
Well, Dean, you know what? I've been following you on Threads now, and half the time you're more heated than I am these days. I open up your Threads. I'm like, Dean's getting militant over here.
I'm Blue Sky. I'm even more so because Blue Sky is the place where all the militants are. So let's talk the next little big liar, JD Vance, who they don't stop. I'll read his quote so everyone hears what he recently said. This isn't like 3 months ago, recent. He says, you look at people who are 150 years old who are fraudulently collecting Social Security payments. You see our Social Security system, 40% of the people who are calling are actually committing fraud. This is all bullshit. No one over 150 is getting checked. No one over a handful of people over 100, and the 40% number he made up. I don't even know what to say. So, Alex, let's start with you this time. JD and Elon Musk and Trump were also on the bandwagon of 200-year-old people getting money, and 20% of people on Social Security are fraud. This guy got a new one. 40% of people calling are committing fraud.
Yeah, no, this is all just, again, it's lies, and they just make up random numbers because they're counting number one on people not actually understanding percentages. They just assume that nobody understands percentages whatsoever. But the big thing when we're looking at these, it's just an excuse that they're floating out balloons, and they're doing testers, and they're doing trials on excuses to cut people's Social Security. The big reason why he mentions phones is because they are cutting through Elon Musk and Doge, and through the sign-offs by the Trump administration. They're going to cut the phone number that people can call for Social Security to be able to deal with problems, or to be able to set up their Social Security if they have to change their bank account. So if you had a fraud on your bank account, right? Old people love to give away their routing number. Trust me, I used to work at a bank. Old people love to give away their routing and their checking account number. All right, what does the bank have to do? The bank closes the checking account. They opens a new one. Well, now you got to tell Social Security office where the money's going to go. All right, we're going to go to my new bank account over here at this new bank. Well, before, you could call the number, a rep would help you, and they'd fix everything. Now, because they're lying and saying that this is where all this fake fraud's coming through, they're getting rid of that phone number. So what do old people have to do? They have to log onto a website. I don't know if you've ever talked to a 72-year-old who's trying to prove their identity into a website before, but that's not going to work. And the other option, they said, oh, these old people can go in person. Well, do you know that on average, I think it's something like 60, want to talk about percentages, 60 to 65% of seniors live over 42 miles round trip from a Social Security Administration office. So you're going to have gaggles of old people driving 42 miles to be able to go deal with a fucking problem. I don't know if you all have noticed after the pandemic, do you know what this is going to create? Now it's going to be more people waiting in line at Social Security office. This is more old people on the road at 8 a.m. to go to the Social Security office. That means more traffic for you because you can't work at home. Where's your work from home? You can't work from home. So since you can't work from home, you now got to get on the road. And now there's old people who can't get their Social Security checks, so they're using their last couple bucks to put into their Buick. So now they're going to be stopping at every yellow light. We're just causing, it's just chaos. It's all chaos. All because JD Vance's dad didn't want to hug him.
That's it. Alex, you're like a redheaded Sam Cedar. Do you know Sam?
I don't know him personally. I'm a fan, though. If you want to hook me up, tell me. I'll give him a call.
I haven't talked to Sam in a while, but I like Sam. I used to go on. I went on his show before. I went on was Air America. Him and Janine Garofalo had his show. They used to go on their show. And then I went on Sam's show with Mark Maron when they did it out of the lunchroom at Air America. Literally, they were relegated to the cafeteria, and they called the lunchroom. And I'd sit there, and people were getting lunch, and I go, "You weren't kidding. People are getting lunch." And he's like, "That's what we were doing." And now they both got on to much more success. But Nitha, what about you? JD Vance,
I went on his show once too.
I'm sorry?
I said I went on his show once too.
Sam or
yeah.
Or Sam. So look, JD Vance, they're coming for Social Security, and they're just filling lies and shooting out buckshot of lies, and they don't care.
Yep, that's where we are. And, we talked about this actually the last time I was on for this fact-checking segment. So in 2022, the Social Security Administration announced that benefits cut off automatically at 115. So that's number one, which means the 150 thing is a whole bunch of BS. And I mentioned this the last time that it was something in the algorithm that was showing or generating automatically
the code,
people were older than they actually were. So just a bunch of BS, and continuing on the fact that they don't actually have to prove anything. They could say whatever and people will believe whatever they say. And it was, I think it was the Washington Post that put this perfectly. It's the kind of twisted logic that turns up at the end of a long game of telephone tag. So it's like they take different figures, different numbers, and twist them around and make up their own truth, because the truth isn't the truth anymore, as somebody infamously once said. And, it is what it is, and you got to believe it. And it's absolutely ridiculous. And this is just a continuation of their attacks on every single, social benefit program, protections that are in place for working people, for Americans, and they're picking on the most vulnerable, like Alex said, like on the elderly. This is why they're picking on migrants, why they're picking on folks who have like the least voice, the least power, and it's going to make everything absolutely into a nightmare. And you were talking, Alex, you were talking about, even offices for Social Security, they're shutting down many locations. So even further than the 40 miles is where we're going to be at. And then there's nobody working there to answer the phones. So how are, seniors going to get through? And if there's a mistake, if there's fraud, if there's anything wrong, how are they going to rectify their situation? It's just horrible. It's absolutely despicable what they're doing. And the fact that people voted for this is the most tragic part.
Wow. They didn't vote for cuts to Social Security. Alex, you were going to say something. Your hand is raised very
No, I was
politely.
going to say what you were saying about cutting offices. One of the targets they've been doing is at blue districts. So any area, which is mostly in cities anyway, but it's in areas that they are targeting that have Democratic Congress people, or areas that didn't turn out for Donald Trump, are some of the highest areas that they're targeting, alongside the rural areas. I mean, the areas that vote for Trump in general are in the middle of nowhere, so there aren't as many physical buildings that are going to be there. So there's less offices around because there's less people, but they're also targeting the high areas. But when you're talking about one thing that people keep overlooking, Social Security is a major one because it touches everybody, but LIHEAP is the other one. LIHEAP is the heating and electricity grants that go out to people in the north. It's really being used to help for like oil heat, and it helps with heating assistance. In the south and southwest, it's used for air conditioning in the summer. So we're going to have old people literally with burst pipes, freezing to death, and also probably sweating to death all across this country because they've just cut this program without telling anybody about it. And on top of that, they're not going to have Social Security, or they're going to have difficulties getting to the Social Security because they're going to have other issues dealing with their electricity because they're not going to be able to make the payments because the LIHEAP is missing. It's much like what's happening with the tariffs. We know, everybody on this call and your listeners, they know something bad is coming. We just don't know what part of the fucked up Rube Goldberg machine are we on, right? The ball's rolling down a little bit. It knocks over a domino. It goes all the way down to here. The butterfly effect. Where is this going to begin and where is this going to end? We don't know.
That's it. And you watch that and you're just watching, you're like, oh, and then at the end, it's like a sledgehammer in the back of your head. Like, oh, I didn't see that coming. And think about these poor seniors, all this stuff. And then it's $9 for grapes. So I insult to injury. It's like, and $9. I want to be like the old person at Trader Joe's yelling, $9 for grapes? What are they made of, gold? What is going on? Like, I just want to be that person to like, sir, please, would you leave? You're acting like an 80-year-old man.
I think a big thing we can do is when you're out there, when you're about to complain about something, you just look around and be like, this is Trump's problem. Just say, Trump did this. You're supposed to be yelling at the grocery store.
You should get a sticker and put them. Remember they did Biden did this.
Oh my God, they did all over.
We should have the Trump stickers. Trump did this. I'm chatting with Nida Khan, Alex Pearlman. It's our segment, Bullbusters. All right, let's talk RFK Jr. because he's a very, very dangerous person. He's lied about a lot of things. His latest is really easy to quantify. He was saying that the measles outbreak in Texas, over 500 cases now, is beginning to subside and grow more slowly. But records, according to factcheck.org, show no, it's grew by 56% in the prior 2 weeks and 56% the 2 weeks beyond that. And I imagine, and Nith will go to you here first, when you were in the Trump administration, remember the movie Love Story? It's an old movie. Like, being in love means never have to say you're sorry. Well, being in the Trump regime never means you have to actually fact check. So you just wing it, whatever you want to say. So the media goes, oh, what about measles? It's going away. It doesn't matter facts. Like, this is dangerous. These are people's lives we're dealing with here. So what is your take on RFK Jr. and how dangerous is this guy?
So is that me, directed at me first?
Yes.
So I 1000% of course agree with you. So Texas, the actual truth is more than 600 known measles cases as of Tuesday. And then you go to, let's say, 3 other states where there's an outbreak as well. Actually, several states, Indiana, Kansas, Michigan, Montana, Oklahoma, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and New Mexico. So, and you have this individual who was very open about being anti-vax and whatever. Now he's sort of trying to backtrack on that a little bit. Meanwhile, there's already been, I believe, 2 unvaccinated kids that died from measles in Texas, and I think an adult as well. I don't remember where. So you already have people dying. You have cases exploding from a disease that was supposedly, everybody agreed, across the board, no matter what side of the aisle you were on, that it was eradicated. People believed in vaccines. When we all went to school, we had to have certain vaccinations. And
Yeah.
it is insane that in the year of 2025, this is where we are. A disease that is not supposed to be in the United States anymore, is not supposed to be in most of the world, but sadly, you know, in some impoverished countries it is. And, you know, to go back to what we talked about earlier too, with cuts across the board. So even cuts to programs like USAID and other global programs, you're also cutting vaccinations and health mechanisms for underdeveloped countries that are going to then cause a rise there and also increase a rise here in disease. So it's like, you know, we live in an interconnected world. To act like, you know, Alex was talking about this earlier, that we're some isolated bubble is absolutely ridiculous. And it's disgusting that we're here, and it's very sad to see this. And it's also very scary. Who knows what's going to happen? And, you know, my question is, I think I said this last time too on your show, do we all need boosters? Because I think after a certain age, we might need a booster as well too, now that we're old. I don't know.
We need a booster from this bullshit. Alex, you have what, 12, 14 children? I don't know how many kids you have.
I don't know. I have one.
Oh, you have one.
He's a toddler, and there have been measles scares around us. I just looked it up. In the year 2000, remember the year 2000, that big scary date where we thought Y2K was going to end us?
Yeah.
On that date, we declared that measles were eliminated in the United States. 25 years ago, we said it was eliminated after the vaccine had been licensed in 1963. In 1962, there were 500,000 measles cases in the United States. And then we had a vaccine. It was wiped out in the United States. And then slowly, people like RFK looked around and said, how can I make a couple bucks? I can convince these parents that they don't need to give their kids a vaccine. They can rub a crystal on it. They don't need to give their kids a vaccine. They can do a gluten-free diet, Jenny McCarthy. They don't need to get a vaccine, blah, blah, blah. They've gone to all these different things because that way they can sell something more expensive than the vaccine while claiming that it's going to be better. And here we are now with RFK Jr.'s own organization, the Children's Defense Fund, or whatever it's called, Children's Health Defense, or whatever their name is. They're down there in Texas. They have a chiropractor treating kids with measles, and the chiropractor himself has measles on his face. He's actively spreading measles. Now, listen, I know a lot of your kids don't play the game Warhammer 40K, but where in that game, there's a character called Nurgle. He's a chaos god of plagues, and they call these guys plague lords. RFK Jr. is not the Health and Human Services Secretary. He's the plague lord of the United States who's been sent here to make everybody sicker while sounding like he's eating a cheese grater. This guy is ruining so many different things, okay? And the one thing he's really ruining for parents, that people like me who have an 18-month-old at home, is any sense of security that we have when we're taking our kid anywhere. I had a family friend of ours who has a kid. They're 2 years old. The kid had a reaction to something, an allergy. We don't know what it was. Kid gets covered in spots. The kid had six of the seven identifiers of measles. Whole family freaks out. Almost has Easter canceled. All this different stuff. They rush the kid to the ER. They do all these different things. Because they were missing the seventh identifier and they're able to prove it wasn't measles, only then could they breathe. But this wasn't a thing. If your kid had spots before, over the last 25 years ago, I guess he ate something. I guess it's just a rash. Now you're like, is my kid about to go into the hospital for a week? And and all of this is going to end up spreading. All of this is going to end up costing us more. Again, when we look at that broken Rube Goldberg machine, that ball rolling down the hill, now you're going to have kids who get sicker. You're going to have adults who get sicker. They're going to have to go to the hospital longer. Will insurance rates go up? Will more other things change? But they're cutting the FDA, the same assholes, cutting the FDA when it comes to checking milk. I've always been able to trust my milk. What was wrong with the milk checkers?
They were too effective, I guess. It's very interesting. I'm telling you, Alex Pearlman Nida Khan. All right, we've gone long on time, so we'll just do one more topic and just do a minute.
Can I just add one quick thing to the topic before we move on? Sorry.
Sure.
So the Vaccines for Children program, which is administered through the CDC, that is also, so when they're cutting the CDC, you're also cutting this program, and that program has a budget of, I think, $5 billion, and they dole out vaccines that are responsible for about half the jabs in the United States to children every year. So, and cuts to HHS, all of this is going to impact vaccinations for those who really, really need it to, and for those who may not have the means to pay for it as well. That's part of this as well.
All right, so the last thing we're gonna, and it'll be 1 minute each, and that's it, because we had another topic, we can't get to it. It's too much fact and fire. I love it. All right, this has to do with the real very issue with Abrego Garcia, the man in El Salvadorian prison, and what really is distressing and alarming to me is the Trump administration has just upped the lies about him. It began as, at one point, they admitted it was a mistake. Then they said he was J.D. Vance saying he's a convicted gang member. And then they said he's a high-ranking gang member. Then they said he literally called him a terrorist. And then Trump has a doctored photo of the MS-13 on his hands saying, look, this is the hand of the man. And they says he's not a member of MS-13, even though he's got MS-13 tattooed on his knuckles. So it doesn't end. And the concern is they'll do this to anybody. I mean, it's not like they're just doing this. This is the Mark Garcia exception. This is their playbook. So, Nith, we'll go to you for a minute and we'll go to Alex and we'll wrap up.
There are even U.S. citizens that have already been snatched up. There was somebody, I believe, from New Mexico who was in detention for 10 days, a U.S. citizen, and then they apparently lied about that as well, too. And I believe the guy, I can't remember his name, he had some learning disabilities, and they made him sign some sort of statement admitting to something, just absolutely horrific, cruel, evil stuff that is going on. And this is all part of the demonization of migrants, immigrants, others, and to instill fear and to make it so uncomfortable so that people don't come here, so that people don't immigrate, so that they don't want to live here, and people quote unquote self-deport, which is what they want folks to do as well. I mean, they even have an app, I believe it's just the CBP app, saying like, oh, you can self-report and self-deport through the app here, and you can leave and come back and do it the correct way. I literally saw a commercial the other day on television with, I forgot who was in it, talking about the app, like, hey, you can report here and self-deport and be on your way. It is just in
Kid Rock was in it? Was it?
No, it wasn't Kid Rock. I can't remember if it was Pam Bondi or whoever it was. I don't remember.
Christy, no.
Even better. Was
it Christy? No. Okay,
Alex,
you've seen it too.
All right, last minute. And Alex, you know, last minute. What's your reaction to this, my friend?
Well, I mean, this, among other things, like we were saying at the very big top of this, talking about the tariffs, this is another one of the things that is going to be one of those Rube Goldberg disasters, because we're seeing people from all over the world travel to the United States to be here as vacations, for just to come here to go to Disney World, just to pass through, to stop on a connecting flight, all these different things, and getting thrown into detention centers, and in the case of Abrego Garcia, sent down to a camp. I mean, these are concentration camps at the end of the day that they're running. This is the beginning of the end for all of us if this isn't rolled back now. Not as soon as possible, not tomorrow, not anything else, now. Because if they can do this to the least of us, they can do this to the rest of us. And the only way to not be thrown into a camp by this administration is to send $1 million directly to his inauguration fund, and then go and make sure you also get your $10 million deal to go have dinner or lunch with them down at Mar-a-Lago or one of those other fuckhead places. These guys are going out of their way to scare as many people as possible, and they don't care who is going to be stuck in there. And with the knuckle tattoo thing, that is just the Sharpie and the hurricane all over again.
Yeah.
Again, we're doing the same shit from the first one, just even dumber and scarier. And this time they got AI so they can make it look worse.
It's scary. You're right. It's dumber and scary. Okay, Alex, where can people follow your work before I let you go?
You can find me on everything at Pearlmania 500, but find my podcast, Too Many Tabs, I do with my wife. Actually, we're going to have David Packman on as a guest tomorrow, and we'll have Dean on there soon as well. Sure. But you know, we're definitely going to reach out. But Too Many Tabs, wherever you listen to podcasts, also on YouTube, Pearlmania 500 across the rest of the internet.
Check. And Nitha, where can people find your work, my friend?
So at Nida Khan, NYNIDAKHANNY. So unfortunately, I'm still on Twitter, but I also have the handle of Blue Sky. Just I have not really been on, but I will soon get on there. And shout out to the 5 Dems who went to visit Rumeysa and Mahmoud in detention. So at least somebody is doing something. And Van Hollen, of course.
Yes.
Shout out.
Well, thank Alex, Nitha, thank you guys so much. Thanks for bringing the facts and the fire in Bullbusters.